let's talk about food. When we are doing anything, just normal sitting around, we're going to burn energy. And we need to eat food to supplement all the energy we burn. Now, just in a normal day, for a normal person, you're going to burn around 2,000 calories per day. When you're out trekking and you're walking all the time, you're carrying a heavy backpack, you're going to burn a lot more, maybe 3,000 or 4,000 calories every day. So if you just plan to eat whatever you eat in a normal day, then you're going to eat too little and you're going to lose a lot of weight. So you need to plan for, when you bring food, when you go trekking, you need to plan for an increased level of energy being burned. Now, of course, this brings something of a problem for us, because the food that we bring, we have to carry it in our backpack. So when we put 1 kilo of food in our backpack, every step we take, we have to lift that kilo of food. Which means that we're going to spend more energy, because we have to carry that food. So when we spend more energy, we have to bring more food, and then when we bring more food, we will burn even more energy. So we have to bring even more food, and the cycle continues. So pretty soon we're going to reach a point where we are just not able to walk because the weight of our food is too heavy. Or we're going to reach a point where we're not able to bring food enough to supplement all the energy that we are losing. Which is why we need to start thinking about being very efficient about what food we bring. If we're going to carry the food with us all the time, then we need to carry food in a way that is very efficient, that has a high calorie content, high calorie density, many calories per 100 grams. And of course, we could also look at what type of food is available when we go out. I mean, if we can avoid carrying something and get it out there, then we're going to save a lot of weight, right? And of course you could think that, yeah, maybe we could eat berries or mushrooms, or maybe we can catch some fish. But what if you don't find any berries or mushroom or fish? Then you're gonna have too little energy anyway, and you're gonna go into starvation mode, and you're not gonna have a fun time. So we can't really rely on that. And anyway, we don't really go out trekking because we want to pick berries and mushrooms. We go out trekking because we want to experience nature. So we don't want to spend a lot of time hunting food. We want to spend our time walking to a place and experiencing the nature, and then sit down and eat whatever we bring with us. But one thing that we know we can always find is water, right? Because water is everywhere in Sweden. So the best way to be efficient of reducing the weight we have in our backpack is to remove all the water from our food. For example, this is powdered milk. If we bring 1 liter of milk, maybe we like to eat milk and cereal for breakfast in the morning. 1 liter of milk weighs 1 kilogram. But if you bring powdered milk, 1 liter of milk is only 100 grams of powder. So 90% of the weight is just water. Which means that this dehydrated food will save you 90% of the weight, which is quite a lot. And it makes a huge difference. And dehydrated food, you can dehydrate any food. Really, any food. There are people who they cook their food at home and then they spread it out thinly on a plate or a platter and they put it in the oven at 60 or 70 degrees, and then you just wait until all the water has evaporated from the heat at 60 or 70 degrees Celsius, and then you have dehydrated food that you've made yourself, and you can do that with any dish that you can think of. And then you go out trekking, you bring out the food that you have in a plastic bag or something, and you just add water to it, you stir, and you wait a while to let the water soak into your food, and there you have it. Of course, not all food is really suitable for this, because if you have a lot of fat in the food, the fat is going to spoil rather easily. Fat usually needs to be refrigerated to keep for a long time. But some fat works well. For example, olive oil you can have without a refrigerator, but particularly butter or that kind of fat is going to spoil very fast. So then you need to learn how to cook food, low-fat food, if you want to dehydrate your own meals. And then it may be tricky to figure out how to make that taste really good, so then it's easy to just buy a meal of food that's already been dehydrated. And I mean, this is also quite cheap. I mean, this meal costs 16 crowns, which is not much. And then you don't have to go through all the process of first cooking the food, putting it in the oven, waiting all those hours for it to dehydrate, and then putting it in bags and figuring out the best recipes to do that with. Because it's already been done for you, and 16 crowns is quite cheap. What you could look out for is they always have these bags of wildlife food or trekking food, or if you buy trekking food, it's going to cost 50, 60, 70 crowns per bag or more, and it's the same as this one. This one, it's not marketed as trekking food, but it's still spaghetti carbonara is one of the things that you can buy as trekking food, and this is just 16 crowns instead of 60 or 70. So the trekking food that you can buy is marketed very heavily because they make a lot of money on that. But don't buy that. Buy something like this, or make your own food. Another way, if you look at this, for example, pancakes. This is just powdered milk, wheat flour, and powdered eggs that they've mixed together to make pancake batter. And of course you can make this yourself by just mixing these different things, but you can also just buy the ready mix if you want to make pancakes when you go out. And I mean, you can think of very many ways to use dehydrated food in this way. This is mashed potatoes, just dehydrated as a powder. 1.2 kilograms of powder will become 6.6 kilograms of potatoes once you add water. So this is also something that saves a lot of weight. Another thing that you need to consider, besides saving the weight of water and how to get good food that is tasty, is the type of energy that is in the food. We have carbohydrates, proteins, and fat. And those three have different energy density. For example, this is soy protein. It's almost entirely protein with some fibers in it. And it has an energy content of 300 calories per 100 grams, which is not a lot. 300 grams per 100 grams. No, 300 calories per 100 grams. If you look at carbohydrates, just sugar. Sugar is 400 calories per 100 grams. So carbohydrates has more calories per 100 grams than proteins have. But then we have fat, of course. Fat, this is olive oil. Olive oil has 900 calories per 100 grams. 900. This is almost twice as much calories as in sugar. So, if we want to be very energy efficient, why don't we just bring olive oil and nothing else? Because you have 900 calories per 100 grams. So you drink 3 deciliters of olive oil in a day and you have all the energy you need that day, right? Well, the thing is that, first of all, drinking olive oil, it doesn't taste very well. And we go out in nature to enjoy ourselves and we want to have fun. And part of having fun is eating good food, right? It's part of the experience. So we want it to taste well. But there's another thing that we need to consider as well, and that is the rate at which this energy is available to our body. So first of all, if we look at sugar, if we start eating sugar here, you're going to have a very steep spike of energy being available to our bodies. And then that energy is going to be burned and it's going to be all gone very fast. So if we eat sugar, you're going to have energy very fast, easily available for our body, and then we don't have any energy because we will have burned it all very fast, or it will, when we eat a lot of sugar, if we don't burn it, the cells start storing it as fat for later consumption. So that's why it doesn't really stay around in our stomach for a long time. It's either burnt or it's stored as fat. And of course, when the sugar level drops too low, we're gonna get in a bad mood because we don't have the energy that we need, and when we get in a bad mood, we're gonna start arguing, or we're not gonna have a good time together. So we don't want that to happen. We don't want to get that drop in energy. We want to keep the energy intake fairly high all the time. And one way of doing that is to have slower carbs, like those in potatoes. Potatoes is not sugar. Sugar is very short carbs. So longer carbs, like potatoes or flour, is going to provide a bit slower curve of energy being available for a longer time. Not as much, but for a longer time. Now, potatoes and flour, they don't contain only carbs. Like sugar is only carbs. It's nothing else than carbohydrates. Potatoes and flour also contain a little bit of fat, but also a lot of protein. So that means that they don't have 400 calories per 100 grams. This is actually 300. Potatoes is 300. Wheat flour is 340. If you mix something like this, pancake batter that is dehydrated, it's also 340 because this is a bit more fat from the powdered eggs, but it's also a bit more protein, and protein is only 300. So 300, a bit more, 400, a bit less, and then fat, a bit more. So in the end, it's the same as just flour, 340 calories, energy density. So these are not very weight efficient, but they will give us energy over a longer time, which will keep us in a good mood. And alternatively, we could constantly eat small bits of sugar all the time as we're walking, like candy. For example, we could eat dried pineapple, which I bought a bag of, but they were so tasty that I ate everything, so I can't show you the bag that I intended. But dried pineapple is about 360 calories because it's mostly sugar, but it's also a bit of fiber that brings down the energy density. So we could, for example, bring some dried fruit and just constantly eat dried fruit to keep our sugar intake high, and that means that we always keep the sugar level high. Or we could eat lunch and dinner, breakfast, just a few meals, and then we eat slower carbs that will sort of take longer time to burn, but we need to bring more weight in our backpack. Now the fat, which is 900, another problem with bringing fat as energy is that fat, it takes a while for the body to turn fat into energy. So of course we can use fat all the time as an energy source for whatever we do, but when we are doing heavy workout, like we're trekking, we're carrying a heavy backpack, we're sweating, we're doing something that raises our heartbeat a bit more, then our body can't turn fat into energy for the cells fast enough. And that means that we're going into sort of a starvation mode. Even if we eat lots of fat all the time, we're going into kind of a starvation mode if we are being physically active. So just bringing fat doesn't work because it's too slow. So when we are active, we need an energy source that can be used very fast in our muscles, so that when we lift and we're walking and we're moving, we can fast get new energy to continue walking and moving. And carbohydrates give us the energy to do that. Protein give us the energy to move, but most of all, proteins are used as building materials for our cells, and as we're moving, our cells are kind of breaking down a little bit. They need to be repaired, so we need some protein to repair our cells after exercise. We need carbs if we are moving a lot and we're burning a lot of energy fast, and fat will give us a stable energy over a long time. So actually, the best way to eat food when you're out trekking is to eat slow carbs for breakfast, for lunch, and for snacks in the middle of the day. And then, for dinner and in the evening, you eat something with more fat and proteins. Because when you're in camp and you're resting, the fat and the protein, there's plenty of time for the fat to be turned into energy, and the protein can be used to build up whatever has been breaking down in our muscles and make us stronger. So we want to eat fat and protein in the evening, and that is also very weight efficient. We have a lot of energy content in the fat, so that we're very efficient. And then we're a little bit less efficient with the slow proteins, but yeah, we can deal with that. So then the question becomes, what should we bring that fulfills all these requirements? And there are lots of different options. Something like this, the spaghetti carbonara, this is actually only 300 calories per 100 grams. So this is not a very efficient way to get our food, because it's very low amount of energy content per weight. But the pasta contains quite slow energy, which is good for a lunch. So I would still consider carrying this for lunch, or yeah, for lunch. For breakfast, I would probably bring some powdered milk and cereal, like oatmeal or yeah, whatever cereal. And we could also bring some flour or something like this, pancakes for lunch. We could bring flour and salt and something else just to bake some bread for lunch. If we want, make some bread over a fire or something like that. The potatoes is excellent for lunch as well. And then for dinner, actually one thing that is excellent for dinner is peanuts. If you look at energy contents of peanuts, there's 620 calories. It's quite a lot more than sugar. And it's 50% fat and it's 25% proteins. So there's a lot of fat, a lot of protein, very, very good thing to have in the evening when you're sitting around the fire. Just eat some peanuts, and then you can burn that energy during the night when you need to stay warm, and it's gonna be excellent. Other nuts, almonds. Almonds actually only contain 540 calories because they contain less fat, 42% fat and 27% protein. So these are more protein rich but and less fat. So they're less. Almonds are less weight efficient, energy dense than peanuts are. But yeah, they work as well for the evening. If you want something really, really weight efficient, you should go for something like this, which is Swiss dark chocolate. This contains 640 calories, 53% fat, only 4% protein, so 30% sugar. This is something that you could actually have as a snack in the afternoon, because the sugar will give you some quick energy for your muscles when you're working out. You get in a really good mood. Chocolate is very tasty, so you're walking along the path and you're eating chocolate and you're like, hey, this is great, we're having a lot of fun times together. And then towards the evening the fat will start to get burned and yeah, very very energy efficient. A lot of people also bring something like Snickers, but Snickers is actually not so energy dense. Snickers is only 480 calories, 22% fat. So this is mostly sugar. And yeah, I guess it works as a snack during the day. Maybe before lunch or something, just to keep your blood sugar high when if you're walking fast and you're exercising well. But actually, even better than Snickers is marzipan, which is 530 calories, 30% fat. marzipan has less fat and more sugar. No, the other way around. Let's see. 22% fat in Snickers and 13% fat in marzipan. Yeah, so it's less fat, but somehow more energy dense. Oh, it's less protein. Okay. So, marzipan is excellent before lunch. Dark chocolate, lots of fat, afternoon snack, and then, yeah, fat in the evening, carbs in the morning, and something in the middle at lunch. Now, also very popular when you're out in nature is to drink coffee. But actually, this pack of coffee, this is 66 cups, so I guess you wouldn't bring this anyway. But just to illustrate the point, this is half a kilogram and it's only 120 calories. Very, very small amount of energy that you will get out of this. Of course, you could bring instant coffee, which is a lot less weight and gives the same effect. But the thing about coffee is that you burn up to 16% more energy when you drink coffee because you're more active. Your cells become more active because of the caffeine. So when you drink coffee, you will burn more energy faster, and that means, okay, it's great if you really want to lose weight, but it's not so great if you want to minimize the amount of food that you have to bring, because you have to bring even more food if you drink coffee. So actually, even though coffee is very popular to drink when you're going out, it's not a good thing to drink. Much better is to drink something like this, instant Thai tea. Now this instant Thai tea, it doesn't contain caffeine, so it's not going to raise your energy level. But most of all, this is just a lot of sugar, right? A little bit of powdered milk, but mostly just sugar and some flavoring, which means that it's excellent when you're walking down the trail. You just stop for a cup of Thai tea, and you get the extra carbs you need for your muscles to work out and for your brain. And yeah, when you're sitting down, you need, if you're just sitting down like this, your brain needs about 100 grams of sugar per day, and the rest of your body, all the rest of your body, needs about 50 grams of sugar per day, and the rest of your energy can come from fat. So you don't really need sugar in a normal day at all, almost, or carbs. But when you're exercising and working out, like you do when you're trekking, carrying a heavy backpack, then you need a lot more carbs, because that's how you get your energy fast into your muscles when you're working out. So, this is excellent. Excellent drink. I like to bring coffee as well, just because it's so good to drink a cup of coffee. But maybe we could bring decaf, even though it's like swearing in a church. But I guess decaf is okay, just to save weight. So yeah, I guess that's it about food. Try to be inventive and figure out what you like.